What's up, guys? Doug Polk here, and welcome back for another episode of the Doug Polk podcast. It's been a little bit. We just had a several-week hiatus. I actually went out and to the island of Maui and got married, and then I went on my honeymoon in Bora Bora, so I've been out of the mix. And I know you probably missed the podcast in your life. You've been enjoying these weekly. Well, finally, we're back with another one. Now, today's podcast is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be joined by Mike, Brady, and Thomas Keeling, two of my very good friends that, in fact, I've done every single one of my poker content creations, and basically all of my content has been with these two guys. So excited to have them on joining us today. One of them's clicking, by the way, I can hear. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that or not. Anyway, before we add them into the call, I also want to let you know that next week we're going to be joined by Josh Aryeh, recent World Series of Poker Player of the Year winner. Should be a fun one. And then the week after that, we're actually going to be joined by Sean Deeb. Plenty to talk about with Deeb. I'm sure he'll have some bang moments to share with us as well. He always does. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and add everyone into the call here. I think this is probably best. Thomas, Mike, what's up, guys?
Good to be here.
Oh, man,
how y'all doing? I've missed you, chat. How y'all doing?
Yeah. So for some of you guys that are just tuning in, I mean, this should be everyone because we just started. You might recognize Mike. He was one of the hosts for the challenge when I played Negreanu. He actually did, I would say, I don't know, half or the majority of the upswing streams. Mike, how many did you commentate for that?
I certainly lost count, but it was a great time. I miss it, I have to say.
You had a real way of showing compassion to people that didn't deserve compassion.
Yeah, that's kind of my MO.
Yeah,
I have to balance it out with you a little bit.
That's good. That's good because I definitely unleashed on them. So that's certainly. It just said live for 18 seconds. Maybe there's technical difficulties here. I'm not entirely sure. I guess time will tell. If the intro gets cut off on YouTube, I guess we'll know. And then for those of you that don't know, Thomas is the man behind the curtain. He's controlling the strings, the puppet master himself. No, I'm just kidding. But he has done every one of my video edits over my career. So I probably know him online. SrslySirius, lots of great YouTube audio compilations for poker related stuff. When was your last audio music vid, Thomas?
Man, it's been a long time, Doug. Like 7 years, I think was my last one. I've been out of the game.
Well, I definitely recommend people checking out Black and Yellow if you can get that one. Party at the DOJ. What's my screen name? Those are some classics.
The Cyborg one is really good.
I like that one less than most people did, but yeah, another
Thanks,
classic. Yeah. Oh, I only complimented 3 of your videos. Brutal host. Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to bring these guys on today because today we're going to have a little bit more of a personal touch on the podcast. Normally we're pretty focused on issues at hand, but and we will go into some stuff later. But I just had a kind of big life event, and I wanted to share some of the pictures. If you guys are on the video platforms where you can see, I wanted to share some pictures and kind of go through the last several weeks of my life and sort of, I guess, like one of the last few big steps that you can go through in life. I mean, it's basically this, and then have kids, right? And then that's kind of it.
And then you die.
And then you die. That's right. And in fact, for some of us, Thomas, you don't even have kids. Some people don't have kids. So,
some people, yeah.
Some people, certain kinds of people. Anyway, so I figured let's kick it off, and I'll just show some pictures, and the chat can see what the last few weeks were like. And yeah, we can talk about stuff a little bit. And let me fire this up. Okay, so first I'm going to show everyone pictures from the wedding. And then actually, before I guess I even jump into these pictures, the way that the last few weeks worked, so it was a very small wedding. It was at Wailea in Maui. And I can hear myself talk from one of you, by the way. I don't know if one of you is listening to the stream. Anyway, it was at Wailea in Maui. So it was a very small group. It kind of worked out a little bit because it was going to be small anyway. And then the state of Hawaii said no groups larger than 30 people can't gather. I'm not going to get into how ridiculous the Hawaiian stringent. Actually, I might get into that. Hawaii's pretty fucking strict, man. There's some pretty fucking strict stuff going on in Hawaii. At one point, I went to the gym with Fees, and it's just me and him in the gym. Okay. And someone came in to tell me to put my mask on. I'm like, I'm just with this one person right here. Can I put it on? People join. They say, no, you need to have your mask on right now. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. You kidding me? We're going to go hang out in my room after. Anyway, before I tilt too hard about that. So very small groups. I wasn't going to invite a lot of people anyway, but it gave me an extra reason to invite less people. We had very, very, very little family. It was just about 6 or 7 family members. And I would say I think it ended up being about 27 people. And I want to say like 10 were my friends or so, roughly. So it was a very small group. a lot of people will probably notice here. And with that out of the way, we'll just go ahead and start sharing the screen. Okay, so for starters, the wedding was at Four Seasons Wailea. Now, we were trying to get this done last year. So originally it was scheduled for November, I think 2nd, 2020. And then COVID stuff happened and we had the delay. But we were originally planning on doing it last year. And then the hotel that we had the wedding at was actually, there's a show called The White Lotus, if people have heard of that. That's the hotel that we had the wedding at. But that wasn't planned. It wasn't like we saw that and thought, oh, I have to go to the White Lotus, the show. I need to go to this place. It just randomly happened that show happened right after, this whole thing was going down. So that was the venue. And then we had a nice little oceanfront spot. So I'm going to be barefoot a bunch of these pictures, which, it makes it a little less weird. I was in the sand and stuff. Anyway, so this is my dad on the left and me on the right. Obviously, I don't think I need to tell you who I am. Pretty clear. Both my parents are separated and both, remarried or in serious relationships, whatever. And Caitlin's parents made it there as well. And then Caitlin's sister and my sister. And that was it for family. We had almost no family. So it was a very small.
Sounds ideal to me.
Yeah, it was fairly drama free. This is my dad on the left with an unfortunate blink timing. And this is my mom on the right. Oh, shit. My dad is this the same picture? No, my dad's still blank. Did my dad open his eyes during this now that I'm looking at this? Oh man. That's too funny. By the way, I'm just talking about my outfit for a second.
Let's zoom in on that bad boy while you're talking about it.
Oof. You like this, Mike?
Sure.
No?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm not a fashion guy.
I told Caitlin, I said, look, I'm your canvas. Paint. And she painted this. I think it seems nice.
Yeah, I think that was probably a wise move to leave the fashion decisions to Katie for the wedding.
It's quite similar to what I wore at my wedding, a tan suit.
Otherwise, it would have been white socks and a tank top, probably. Maybe a jacket over it.
Yeah, especially in Hawaii.
Well, the tank top is very nice in Hawaii. I think it's a nice look, but this was the only time we had to get dressed up, and so made it count. Yeah, I think it looked good. I like good. The shoes killed my feet badly, but look good. All right, let's move on to the next pick. People that are listening to the audio version of this are gonna say this is the worst podcast ever, but guys, it's okay. This is more for just like the people that the more hardcore fans, people that really want to know what was going on. This is Jake Abdallah, coach of the Upswing Mixed Game course. He had an exact replica of a Larry David outfit from one of the seasons as his of Curb Your Enthusiasm as his outfit. I believe that was the reference. Fees, shuffling some cards.
What was the role of cards at this wedding exactly?
I actually right before the ceremony, I got a little 300 600 6-card 08 action in. You got to get your 300 600 6-card 08 action in, but this is a pretty shit hand. 6-card 08. Obviously, ace deuce makes the nut low, so you gotta try and add the ace deuce, and nines aren't very good. I made a real punty bluff actually because I was just not thinking about things. I just tried to bluff a split pot game on the high side, and then obviously got scooped, and then realized that I just punted off several $1,000s. Good times. Okay, so here is one of Caitlin's friend Ojra, or her husband, and then Jimmy Chow. I think actually my most profitable stake ever.
For the Swarm on Stars, for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, for the Swarm. Very good times. I go way back with Jimmy. We first we were in the same Warcraft 3 clan. I played him on the ladder. I was 14 or 15 years old, and I thought he was really good. And I said, "Hey, you're really good. Do you want to join my clan?" And he said yes. And then here we are, all these years later. I think I know Jimmy. Other than the best man at my wedding, I've known Jimmy longer than anyone else here. And I made a terribly catastrophic mistake where I accidentally said that Jimmy was my first roommate in Vegas, and then my first 2 roommates that were actually my first 2 roommates in Vegas refused to let me live this down. And every time I see them, I just get endless jokes about how bad my memory is, and some stuff about Jimmy, et cetera, et cetera. And the reason I thought this was because there was like 2 when I first lived in Vegas. I bought a place. There was like 2 eras. The first era was my initial friends that moved there with me, and then everyone left, and it was just me. And then I had a new wave of people, and Jimmy was the first of that wave. And so I associate, oh yeah, Jimmy, my first roommate. Not true. And I'm still paying to this day with my friends. You'll see both of them in a moment here. So, and then Michael Pillion is Fee's friend. It was actually his date to the wedding, but he is not gay. That is just his friend. They also brought. Well, I'm not going to go down that road. It gets complicated. We'll just say it was some fairly signature Fees stuff overall. Okay, so this is me just getting scooped clearly for the wedding. Fees with a very interesting eyebrow raise going on here. Okay, so now getting into some wedding pictures. The order of these is going to be kind of messed up, but whatever. Here we are cutting the cake. Oh, cute little wedding.
I like how you awed for us there.
Well, you guys weren't helping me. Someone should have awed or something.
Yeah, your reaction time was just way ahead of ours there.
True. Very true. It was cute. It was so Katie can't have Katie is vegan with meat. So she can have meat but no dairy or egg.
Vegan with meat. Wow, I have not heard that one before.
Vegan with meat. Yeah, Megan.
Isn't that just lactose intolerant?
Well, I guess she also wouldn't do eggs then and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just non-dairy.
Or honey. All right. Well, anyway.
I prefer Megan. I did a post-game conference at the GG poker stream or whatever, and I said vegan with meat, and Negreanu was not a huge fan of that. There was a light scoff. But anyway, that's her dietary situation. So I think it was it had to be dairy free. It was really good though, so I couldn't tell. That's when it's good, when you can't tell. Here we are at the table.
And kind of a callback to the reference earlier about the shoes being uncomfortable. Doug is barefoot here. Did not last long.
It did. I mean, I should have had these in order. We skipped the ceremony, went right to the dinner. So, we're doing this a bit of reverse order, but it's all good. Hitting the dance floor.
Again, barefoot.
Yeah,
you gotta be agile on the dance floor.
My shoes actually went missing, Brady. My shoes. So at first I took them off, and then I couldn't find them. Then I asked the wedding planner, and then she couldn't find them. And then eventually I got a fresh pair out there. But at some point, it was no longer my fault. This is a nice view. It's us having the first dance. Everyone at the table. You can see sort of the background of Maui and the oceanfront area here at the Four Seasons. Very, very nice spot. Coming out for our dancing. I'm barefoot, looking very excited about it. It flies by, man. Thomas, with your wedding, did it seem like it flew by?
I was sick at my wedding, so for me it felt like it lasted ages. But yeah, no, not really.
That had to suck. How sick were you?
It wasn't too bad. I was just like really nauseous, and I was just afraid the whole time that I was gonna throw up.
Ouch.
Yeah, that'll make a day feel long.
How many people did you have at your wedding?
It was a pretty small wedding. It was in Georgia because I lived there at the time. And I'd say there's about 20 or 30 people there. We kept it pretty small too.
Oh, okay, nice.
We didn't need to do like a destination wedding to keep too many people from coming. So it worked out.
Easy enough. Quick shout out to the chat, guys. Appreciate all of the wonderful, nice comments. Everybody, definitely appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words.
Speaking of the kind words, we have a question from Law 1986. Why no poker celebrities in these photos? Have you not been paying attention? We had Ryan Fee. We had Jake Abdallah. Bryce Daifuku might even make an appearance, I hear.
Could happen.
It doesn't get bigger in the poker world than Skills That Kills Bryce Daifuku.
Yeah, I was thinking about this actually. I think I had 10 friends come, and I was thinking, and almost all of them I met through poker or they played professionally at one point. I think out of the 10, 9 of them did. And I think only Marty Mathis and Jimmy Chow still play, I think. Everyone else, I think, has retired in some fashion. We are walking down. This was cute. Little kiss with everyone throwing flowers. That was nice. All right, so here, me and Caitlin. Caitlin's sister, Sarah. Sarah is really nice. And then my best man, Deej. I met Deej in freshman year of high school. He is a software developer. He got a law degree, which he never used. He preferred computer or coding. So, he went to school for 10 years for, I don't know, something. But anyway, so I've known him since freshman year of high school. We met. I just moved to North Carolina from Las Vegas, Nevada. And he said, "You mean Nevada?" And I said, "I'm pretty sure I know how to pronounce the state that I'm from." And he said, you meant Nevada." And so I was like, this guy's going to be my best friend for forever. And that's actually, so this is a weird thing with the state Nevada. I think outside of Nevada, tons of people call it Nevada, but then everyone in the state of Nevada calls it Nevada. So there's this real disconnect between people outside of the state and inside the state on how to pronounce that state name. Yeah, just something to think about, guys, if you're outside Nevada.
I've lived here for like 5 years. I still call it Nevada.
That's
I
how
hate
we
calling it Nevada. It sounds so southern.
That's how we know you're a foreigner, Thomas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, people correct me all the time.
Well, good. They should be. He also has a matching suit. He actually flew out to Austin to get fitted and have the exact same suit as me. So I had some wardrobe issues, and he busted out this best man kit, and it just had all these threads and needles and buttons. And I was like, my God. And he said, "Doug, this is what you do when you're the best man." And I said, "But I was the best man at your wedding last year." Oh, whoops.
I guess he wasn't a fan of your best man skills.
Maybe he's just talking shit, I guess. This is actually the founder of Bob's right here. The artist, the founder, the
everything behind Bob's, really.
The world of white dudes, you mean?
World of white dudes, correct. There was a lot of Bob chatter at the wedding. It was actually a pretty incredible. It was #1 topic by a mile was Bob's. And then older people being like, "So what are Bob's exactly?" And like, "Well, Mom, it's going to be hard to explain this." All right. Anyway, so here's a photo. This is my sister on the far left. My dad and they're not married, but they're basically married. Him and I don't know what the term would be, but her name's Susan. They've been dating for a long time.
Like common law married?
I don't think that would be the right term, but I think that they just both were married before and don't want to have to do the whole marriage thing again. So they're just like chill with it, Obviously, Katie, and by the way, I haven't mentioned this yet, but Katie looking absolutely beautiful in the dress. She came down from the stairs and they had a conch shell. So it goes, "Oh, oh," and it was, I couldn't believe how loud it was. It was, I just couldn't hear shit. I just heard, all I could hear was that shell. It was incredibly loud. I don't know why I transitioned into that. I just thought of it. And then my mom and my stepdad. Oh, I gotta tell the stepdad story. This is amazing. Okay, this is actually one of my favorite moments. His name's Gary. It's one of my favorite stepdad moments. So, after we got married, everyone came up in a line and congratulated us one at a time. And he was at the very end. He comes up and he gives me a big hug. And he goes, "I guess that's it, Doug. It's official. You're stuck with me." And I say, "Gary, you're on my side of the family." He's like, oh yeah. And he just walks away. "Gary, you're already on I'm already stuck with you. You're already on you married my mom." Had nothing to do with this wedding whatsoever. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh man, that's too funny. Here we're walking down the aisle. Oh, a cute little moment. Oh, when we first got up here, by the way, I was outside of this, I don't know what this thing is called, and the sun was right in my eyes. It was impossible to see. It was so bright. So bright. Here's the ceremony. Very happy Katie. All right, so that was the end of the wedding pictures. Actually, I should have grabbed someone of all the people that were there. I didn't get enough like friends and whatnot, other than just like the random poker scenes. I'll post some on social, but there was a lot of guys there. Jason Moe was there. Jason Les was there. I don't think people would know who Charlie Wetlaufer is. He was there. Marty Mathis, Jimmy Chow, I'm going to feel bad for getting people. Obviously, Bryce Day, Fuku, my friend Deej, Fees, Jake.
The question on everyone's mind, I think,
Hmm.
was Dale Negreanu there?
Unfortunately not, Mike. I mean, you bring up a good question. I knew that there were betting lines developing on this, but no, he was not. Could have gone either way, though.
A lot of people suspected he was going to be the best man after how chummy y'all ended up after that challenge, to be fair.
I heard people speculating on that. I actually heard there was potentially some wagers that were going to go down on that.
Well, I hope they got really good odds, in all seriousness.
I had a friend who someone offered him odds, and he said he was debating, but he said, I can't do this because I'm going to the wedding, and I know that Negreanu's not going. This was the view from our place in at the Four Seasons in Maui. Nice little garden area. Had some cigars with JMO and Deej out here. They were arguing about Solana versus Ethereum. You know, good wedding talk. This was the pool that we hung out at most days. So the way that we broke up the trip, we did November 2nd to the 13th at this hotel, and then we went to Bora Bora, and then in Bora Bora we did about 4 days at a place called the Conrad. It used to be the Hilton. It was a rebrand, and then 5 nights at the Four Seasons in Bora Bora. This pool is just incredibly nice. They have a swim up bar. You can swim up, get drinks, order food, whatever. Definitely took advantage of that. We ran out these little cabanas a bunch of days. Just really pleasant. No kids allowed. But they still let fees in, so it was nice. Here we are, nice little view. Edge of that pool there, overlooking the beach and stuff. We did a little kayak snorkel trip thing. Bryce and Jimmy are over here. Me and Kate on the left, obviously. My dad and Susan on the right. Some randos are mixed in. Went and swam with some turtles. You can see me trying to do a shaka bra up here. Quick shaka bra. Someone with turtles. I don't know what I'm doing with my hand here. Katie doing a quick shaka bra. Some more turtle action. Not a big fan of kayaking, guys. Or snorkeling.
I've never been a big fan of it. The thing I don't like about kayaking is that you sort of get wet, but you don't fully get wet, so you're just sort of damp for a long time. And I don't know about you, chat. I'm not a fan of being damp. Not an adjective that I never want anyone to be able to say Mike is damp. It's just not something I want.
Or moist.
Oh, God forbid. God forbid.
That's
moist.
the worst. That's just got to be the worst. My problem with kayaking is a little bit different, but I can respect your take. My problem is that it's basically just work. It's, hey, do you want to go do some work? And then I think, no, I could not do some work. If I wanted to work out, it'd be fine. But if let's say I were to work out or I don't want to work out or whatever, why do I want to go kayaking? When does the fun kick in? Also, I'm paddling my heart out. I'm burning. It's so difficult. And I've gone almost nowhere and I'm barely moving. And then I see people just... So Bryce and Jimmy, they're just synchronized paddling by, just like, just zooming along way out in front. And then I'm just like, paddle, just going nowhere. I don't know. And then swimming, I'm a landlubber. I cannot, I suffer in the water. I can't swim. I can't wear the fins. I feel like I'm going to drown. I just suffer endlessly in the water. So I don't know. I like jet skiing. I like ATVing. We went parasailing. It was fun. But I'm just not a big getting in the water kind of guy. I can't wear fins. Hard to swim. Cute pic. This is us going to Bora Bora now. Next leg of the journey. Katie had fully themed bride everything. The bride mask is... This is really 2021. Oh, it's the same pool we were just at before.
How was Bora Bora? Like, did it feel small?
It felt pretty small, yeah. It was a small island. So the way that Bora Bora works is there are these things called motus, which are really small strips of land around the main island. And that's where all of the nice hotels are. And then there's a main island where the locals live. So you're on really small strips of land when you're in these bungalows and at these hotels. And then the main island is also very small, but it's a lot bigger than the Motus that you're on. We'll get into the Bora Bora stuff in a sec. I got some pics. What are you gonna ask?
I was just gonna say, if anyone hasn't seen Bora Bora on a map, like look that up. It's pretty crazy.
So our flights were, we flew to Maui from Austin, and it was, if it had been a direct flight, it would have been probably 8.5 hours. We had to fly to Dallas first. And then the flight from Hawaii to Bora Bora is still 5.5 hours. So even though both are in the Pacific, they're still pretty far apart. And then the flight from Bora Bora back to America is 9-ish hours or so. So everything is pretty far away from each other. Here we did a cruise. So one of the days we got everyone together on a big boat, and we all went snorkeling, and they had drinks and snacks, and just boated around Maui basically. Did a bunch of pics on the edge of this thing. Okay, and then we're into Bora Bora. I should have organized these pictures better. This is the view from our first hotel. Oh, this is funny too. So this little cloth on the table, they did a canoe breakfast, and I surprised Katie one day. They swim up in a canoe, or they kayak up in whatever it is, canoe up, whatever it is. And I was on my computer doing something, and I had my headphones on, and then I hear a commotion, and I look over, and Kate is sending away our canoe. So it was a surprise for her, and she's like, no, we didn't have a canoe. And they said, no, it's supposed to be this. What's the room number? She's like, no canoe. We didn't have one. And I was like, surprise. But anyway, so it was almost a ruined surprise, but this was our view from the back. By the way, Bora Bora, beautiful. The blues of the lighter blue in some of the areas of the island, it's incredible. I mean, I'm not really one for nature, and even for me, it was pretty incredible. Just to see those, just to see the coloring, because these are no filters. The water actually looks like that when people post Bora Bora pictures. It really is incredibly beautiful. And some of the views, there should be one in here, I think. Yeah. Oh, I'm on tilt about my sunglasses, by the way. I had a nice pair, and I just lost them one day. I just couldn't find them. And so I went to the shop, and they had two pairs, and one didn't fit my head. So it was either this exact pair or no sunglasses. So I had to go with the exact ones there. So, you know.
All I can say for those sunglasses is yikes.
It was definitely a quick yikes. Absolutely. Yeah, it was not good. I also need a haircut pretty badly. Getting one tomorrow. But you can see in the background the little Motu island and the water around it. It's really beautiful. One day we did a jet ski tour around the island, so you just jet ski around the whole thing, and they take you to some little private Motus, and they'll teach you how to open coconuts. And coconuts, if you just get a random coconut, they actually taste pretty good. If you squeeze the coconut, the milk out of it or whatever, it's actually quite nice.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
It was good. This was our view from the second hotel that we were at. This was just the Mount Otomanu. This is the all-time most money I've ever spent on a hotel per day, by the way. Not even remotely close. I want to say it's over 3x my second most per night. But I think the thing is, if you're gonna punt on hotels, I think this is the spot. You know, your honeymoon has got to be the nut best spot to punt money on doing stuff.
Yeah, it seems good. I mean, look at this view.
It's pretty sick.
Insane.
Yeah, it was like $6,000 a night for this room.
Let them know in chat. Just said that this wedding was sponsored by GG Poker. Good one, bro.
More or less, I guess, in a way. Yeah, it was pretty. And then I think that's it. All right, that's the end of my slideshow, guys. It was a brief one, but I figured I would. People would want to see the pics. What's best, this or this? Okay, thoughts, questions?
I have no questions about the wedding. We've covered it pretty well. What I have a question about is, what do we got going on in the near future for content here?
I see you, Mike, changing gears. Are you not all about my eternal love to Caitlin? Is that what this is about?
Dude, I'm so all about it. It's incredible. But
All right.
I mean,
We'll
the photos are going to memorialize it very, very well. And I know the people in the chat are very, very excited to hear about what we got coming up on all of the channels. We got plans.
We've got some plans. All right. Well, then let's just launch right into it, and let's talk about what we're going to be doing moving forward. So we had a meeting yesterday, us three, and we talked about things. And basically, we're going to get back into content streets. Obviously, we were doing the podcast consistently over the last few months. That's going to keep going. I think I'm going to standardize the time for when I do it a little bit more. I'm going to aim for it to be around, let's call it noon-ish Pacific time on Tuesday. Maybe it'll be a little earlier, maybe a little later. Maybe we'll have to change it for guest time. Time depends on the guest. But I'm going to try and have a little more consistency to the podcast for a lot of the viewers, because I think then people know when to tune in. And I think that'll make it a little more consistent and maybe help with viewership. That's just what we're going to do with that. And then we're also going to start doing a crypto video a week. And we're going to start doing probably a poker video a week. And we're going to just leave things there, because I don't want to do this thing where I'm like, let's fucking go. And I'm like, daily videos. And then I get 7 weeks in, or let's be real, 4 days. And I realize that we've lost all content that we can really talk about. And then I'm just down to the scraps, down to the shreds. And did you guys know the most recent sponsored pro on GG? And then you're like, oh my God, what has this become?
What does it come to? Johnny High Roller in chat is suggesting BitConnect, Where Are They Now Part 2. Speaking of that, if anyone does have video suggestions for crypto or poker, if there's like a topic you want to see Doug cover, tweet at me, at MBradyCF, tweet at Doug. That would actually be really helpful. If there's something interesting that you think we should cover.
I would like to know Where Are They Now Part 2. Because the last Where Are They Now video was like 3 years ago.
Right.
I have no idea what's happened since.
It could be really interesting.
What you're saying, Thomas, is where are they now?
Where?
That would be so interesting. Somebody should do that.
I know there were some court cases, but I don't remember. I haven't kept up with what the results of them were. You know, I know a few of those characters have popped up here and there. I think one of them is still making content to this day. We should check back in on him.
That's a great point. And I imagine that Crypto Nick, 3 years have gone by, so he must be in 10th grade now.
Exactly, yeah.
When I first found the Crypto Nick channel, and this guy had hundreds of K views on videos, and was just basically shilling whatever scam of the day. It was mainly BitConnect, but there were some other scams that mixed in there. I can't believe how do people just fall for these base level scams? It's incredible. When I found, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, it just seems really easy to, if you have like no integrity or ethics, then you can just make ridiculous claims on social media and YouTube and build huge followings really fast. Because since we stopped making crypto videos, we were looking yesterday at like who's out there making crypto content now on YouTube, and there's all these new people that I've never heard of before with huge audiences making like huge videos talking about 100x gains.
Or top 5 altcoins for 2022 or 2021.
They'll get you rich. Get you rich in 2022.
The amount of false promising and telling people they're going to be rich to get viewership is just, it's disgusting and it's sad.
And it works really well.
That's especially bad that it does work. You could probably fire up a channel and just promise people random stuff about how great they're going to do buying X coins. And then I think what also happens for some people is, let's just say you do that and something does pop off. Well, it's one of those things where if enough people are making top 5 altcoins, if enough people are making top 5 altcoin videos, some of those videos are going to be really good advice, right? And so, people, man, this guy knows his stuff. He predicted Solana. He predicted this one. And then before you know it, you're always just, your next top 5 might not be so hot. Or maybe you just lead people into scams. Yeah, there's been a bunch of stuff too, like the BitBoy guy. Somebody found this image where, you know how they have these influencer marketing sites? So you can just go and you can sign up and you can say, okay, I want to pay X amount of money and I want to have an influencer promote this thing. Well, BitBoy has, I don't know, 1 million YouTube subs, something like that, 500K, 1 million, whatever it is. And you could purchase from him promoting your stuff or your coin, basically, which everyone kind of knew he was doing, but just to see it, like, here's a picture of him, here's the cost, it's kind of ridiculous.
Here's a video idea, Doug. Let's go undercover. Let's pitch the scammiest, like most sus sounding projects and NFTs and coins we can to all the various influencers and see what they say, and then we'll expose them.
So, so we're the scammers in this set analogy.
Yeah, we'll go undercover as scam coins.
We're gonna need a really non-suspect initial name. Other people will know it's us. You know, we're gonna have to talk about that privately, probably.
Okay.
But and the goal is just to see if you can get them to show scams.
Yeah. Let's see like what's their rate, you know, like we'll negotiate with them a little bit. We can post some screenshots and see how the whole thing works.
Some of these guys are expensive though, Thomas. Who's footing the bill?
We don't have to pay. We can just talk.
Oh, so this is basically we're saying, why don't you take a seat over there? We're gonna see what they do. We're gonna see what they do, and then when it gets time for payment, we're gonna
What
leave.
What are you doing here? You're shilling scam coins on YouTube. What's going on here?
I just thought this was gonna be a good time, you know, in a friendly way. No one had to get hurt. Yeah, that having to actually do that though seems kind of brutal.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's tough. You'd have to like make some fresh accounts and slide in the DMs and do all that.
We're gonna have to wait too and lie low, because if we do this too close to this podcast, then people might know.
They're not watching. Nobody's watching this. It'll be
nice.
good.
Okay, good. Thanks, Thomas. Great to have you on the pod today. Don't worry, Doug. No one's watching this. It'll be fine.
Yeah, if we make brand new accounts that have like 0 followers and we try to DM people, it probably won't work. So we might need to get like some help.
Could be true. Another idea that we kicked around yesterday, chat, was we were considering the idea of a Postle follow-up video. I think people will probably be pretty excited for that. That might be what we work on either next or a week or two.
That situation I have been following a bit more closely, and there have been some very funny, very interesting new developments in the last couple of years since we last covered Postlegate on the Poker Channel.
Yeah, that seems like a mandatory video. I think we gotta do that. That just seems like a slam dunk.
Actually, some really fascinating twists and turns since we last checked in. So I'm excited for that one.
I would love to have Postle come on here as a guest on the pod. Postle, if you're listening, just come on the pod, man. Everyone would love to hear you talk. We have a lot of things to discuss. What's been going on with the legal situation? More about the hat.
That reminds me of like around when the Postle stuff was first breaking, and it was still we were still sort of in the discovery phase as a poker community, where people were looking for hands and kind of still coming up with evidence. And then you had a DM conversation with Postle where you were basically like, hey, I don't understand how you had some of these reads that you had, like how these reads could have been so strong. Do you want to come on my podcast and explain it? And then he responded essentially saying, not verbatim, but essentially saying, I have to look for counter evidence before releasing any statement or anything. So what he was saying was he wanted to go through the streams himself and find instances where he, for example, made a bad river call or raised into a good hand or whatever it is, like things that in his mind disprove that he's super using. But the funny thing is, he never even came back with stuff like that. Like I'm starting to think he never found any examples of him.
Those proved hard to find because Joey was trying to find examples like that. And there were like a few here and there, but they were like very few and far between.
Well, we have to give credit where credit is due. And I think Joey spent, I'm going to use a conservative number, 50 hours diving into footage on YouTube. Those were some of the deepest dives YouTube has ever seen. Maybe 100 hours. It could be more than that. I don't know. They went through session after session after session. He just grinded those things out. And the reality was, I don't think that there was almost ever a bad river call. I think there was one where he had an incredibly nutted hand and he didn't raise, but he called and he tried to say this was proof, but it was a hand that obviously should raise because it only lose. I forgot if it lost to the nut flush. Or sorry, the nut flush or a straight flush or quads. Do you remember the? I don't remember the hands. It's been too long now.
Not specifically,
But
I feel like it was nut flush for a straight flush on like a paired board or something like that.
Okay, but that was basically the only one that people could find in terms of bad river decisions. They were all perfect, and
he looked mad that he had to do it. This was like the one case that was so blatant he knew he couldn't just like make the miracle fold or whatever, so he just like begrudgingly put money in the pot with the second best.
What does Postle do now, right? You've had this whole incident. Everyone in the poker world knows you as a scumbag. Where do you go from here? I mean, I guess you just try and figure out something else. You're done with poker.
Was he a professional? Was that how he made his living back then?
I think so.
Once he knew what your cards were, he certainly was a professional.
Seems like he's in rough shape based on keeping up with it. Some of the filings show that he's like declared bankruptcy and is racked up a lot of debt and is trying to avoid paying his creditors. So not doing well, it seems like.
I think that it actually works out better for him if he comes clean in a way where he can publicize the story and try and make money off of that and then pay people back the O's in the legal system. And then I think people could stomach if he came clean. So, all right. So let's just talk about the poker community as a whole, their view on it, right? There were 5, 10, 15% of people. It's probably closer to 5 that just think, where's the smoking gun? We never saw him cheat. So basically, in order for them to think he cheated, they had to see him looking at cards. That's the only way. And so for those people, you're never going to convince them. But I think for the majority of the poker community, people realize that this guy cheated. And I think that if he came clean and tried to rectify things in a way, you could probably come back. I mean, you can come back from kind of anything in poker, right? Seems like that.
I think this one would be pretty tough just with how much reach this story had. I mean, it was on like the Scott Van Pelt show on ESPN or whatever. So there's all these people that heard about the story initially. Even if he were to now come back with like a real heartfelt apology and really tried to make it right, it would be a fraction of people who saw that compared to who found out about the original story. So he would still be a pariah in any poker room he walked into for like, I think the rest of his existence. I can't imagine him ever getting an apology out there and like marinating enough in our minds to like not face a lot of friction when he goes into any room.
He's going to face some friction. And this story was extremely widespread. This is my most popular video of all time was this story. 3.2 million views. It was my #1 video I've ever done is this story. It's kind of incredible, actually. But I mean, it's a very notable story. I think that it has interest so far outside of poker that it makes sense that this is extremely popular. But I think people have a way of forgiving people for things that they've done that are horrible if they own up to it. But if you pretend you didn't do it, then it's just no one's ever going to forgive you for that, right? I mean,
some people just kind of don't care about being a pariah, well, to an extent. Some people have higher tolerance for it than others. Like Chris Ferguson and Howard Lederer, tried to make their comebacks. One more successful. Lederer tried it for a bit, then I guess he gave up and went back into his shell. Ferguson's out here winning player of the year and just cashing tons of WSOP tournaments and getting a lot of shit, like, getting a bit of harassment and stuff. But other than that, there's not really too much consequence coming back from it.
What's general public consensus on Ferguson like? Because I wasn't really, so I think he won player of the year 1 year, right?
Yes.
I can't remember that happening. And obviously I heard a lot of people that were unhappy about it. But what kind of is general public sentiment on Chris Ferguson? Because it seems like he took a bunch of shit, obviously, but was he insulated enough because he wasn't, I mean, how guilty do people think he was when it came to what happened at Full Tilt?
Opinion seems mixed,
Yeah, I've seen the same. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Thomas, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, I think a lot of people didn't really follow that too closely. Even people that did follow it closely, it's not entirely clear how much input people on the board of directors at Full Tilt had to some of these financial decisions. There's some people that are like clearly very, very guilty, like Ray Bitar. And I think it's assumed that Howard Lederer obviously has a lot of culpability for them like not segregating funds and paying themselves exorbitant salaries. But when you and Chris too. But I guess it's when you get outside of those three guys that it becomes a little fuzzier.
the way that I feel when I hear Chris Ferguson's name is I think, oh, fuck that guy. That's my initial, my gut feeling. But then again, what did he do exactly? I mean, he was part of a big company that was doing a bunch of horrible stuff, but was he really? And it's probably fuck that guy, right? I don't know. I can't really.
It's when you have a poker site and you're supposed to be segregating funds and you don't, you commingle everything. You have one big pot and then you take a bunch of money for yourself and you can't pay people back. It's kind of like you took money that you shouldn't have taken that belonged to other people. It's kind of stealing, but it's not like it's not cut and dry smoking gun, black and white stealing.
Well, how much of Full Tilt did he own? He owned a good sized piece, right? Wasn't he one of the biggest after Letter?
Yeah.
So you're one of the major shareholders in the site that took a bunch of money from people and then didn't pay them out. You're kind of a scammer, really. I mean, I think so. Seems kind of fair to say that. All the money he made from Full Tilt, maybe not all of it, but a lot of it has to be ill-gotten gains, and that it was money that ended up in his bank account that really was people, they had balances they couldn't get paid.
I think kind of the story is a lot of those guys are just like, oh, I didn't really know what was going on. We made huge mistakes. I'm sorry, we fucked up. My bad. And so it's not like straight up super using people like Postle did allegedly. And it's not as cut and dry. When somebody can see your whole cards and rob you to your face, it's easier, I guess, to villainize them than it is when it's just a little bit less clear.
Yeah, that's for sure true. And then also a bunch of the money he made was fair, right? Because up until what happened at the end, Full Tilt paid everyone out. They were a legitimate company. They're one of the biggest sites. They did do things well. And Full Tilt got a little bit of this whole it's a Ponzi scheme vibe in the mainstream media after this went down, but that wasn't really totally fair because there were lots of years of them operating fine. It really spiraled out of control in the last year or two.
Well, no, I think what happened was just that there was a run on the bank. So what they were doing was like fractionalized reserve banking, where as long as everybody's not trying to withdraw at the same time, you can probably operate fine, continuously.
Right.
But it's when the DOJ shuts everything down and people, the 100% of users are trying to withdraw their balances, then you're fucked. So
right.
that was another excuse people made, was that like, oh, well, it would have been fine if not for the Department of Justice. Like they could have just kept going for years and years.
Yeah, that's probably also true. But things were getting worse, I believe. So maybe not. I mean, the amount of people that were being paid on Full Tilt for essentially nothing, they just had money deposited into their account in the first, was excessive. And yeah, so going back to talking about Ferguson, though, it's not like with Postle where every pot that he won, he was cheating. Or every big pot. Obviously it's less cut and dry, but also at the same time, if a site basically behaves in a way where they're not able to ensure players their money, and then something happens where because they were operating sort of, I mean, I don't know, illegal. Is it illegal to do what they did? Maybe not illegal, but incorrectly. Because of that, then the users lose their money. And he still gets millions of dollars. I feel like that's certainly in the vicinity of scammy.
I guess what it comes down to is the question of is it incompetence or is it malice? Now, when you cheat somebody at the table, that's clearly malicious. When you get rich off a poorly run company that screws over its players, it's trickier to determine what someone's intent was. And so I think it does boil down to, were they incompetent or were they malicious?
That's a good point. It wasn't malicious on their end. It was incompetence. So that does change things.
Maybe.
But also the effect is the same for the user. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird spot. And I have mixed feelings about it. And I'm sure the poker community feels somewhat similar for Ferguson, but how many people in poker do just scummy shit? And maybe we're not even considering this scummy because maybe this was just incompetent. And then they just say sorry or they don't. And then it just becomes okay.
I think you could do almost anything in the poker community and kind of sort of work your way back in. The only exceptions to this that come to mind are just straight up super using people. People who have done that have just had to kind of go off into the sunset and disappear.
How many of those people have apologized though? How many Joshua Tylers have come forward and said, "Hey Doug, sorry I hacked your computer. Turns out it was the wrong thing. My bad."
That's a good point. Mike, if you're watching this, man, just come back. Just tell us what you did. Just admit you did it. We all know you did it. You know, just come clean. Maybe you probably can never play on a live stream again, but maybe you can show your face in a card room and it be somewhat okay.
Maybe.
It's never been tried.
Until he comes forward, he has no chance because I just can't. Has anyone seen him play poker since this went down?
He just hides in his house, dude. When they try to serve subpoenas, he kind of like lifts the blinds a little bit and then hides back into his.
Oh, that's too cute.
He doesn't even answer the door.
Oh my god. What else in poker are stories that are worth covering? Obviously, we need to talk about this site calling themselves Polker.
Oh yeah,
that's just a pretty ridiculous move. Now I get that they're on the Polkadot network and they're a poker site, but come on, man, Polker. I mean, have they considered calling it not Polker Hands? Honestly,
I don't see how you could do that and not realize the implication. You know, you must know exactly what you're doing if you call your site Polker. I think there's no way you could try to make it out that it was a misunderstanding or a mistake.
What would you have been trying to do? It's just because it's the Polkadot network. Yeah, but then why weren't you just poker? Yeah, I think it's pretty clear cut. Capitalizing off my good name. Fuck those guys, Thomas. Fuck
Shots fired.
guys.
We'll do a deep dive on it, maybe.
Oh, it's gonna be a really deep dive.
I'm sure there's a lot to cover in that story.
So such a deep dive.
Yeah, it's definitely not just the minute we just spent talking about it and that's it.
Yeah. I might have to address that in a more official way, but certainly true. What about the WSOP moving? What are your thoughts, Mike? WSOP moving from the Rio. What do you think about that?
I'm actually really interested to see how it goes next year. I mean, I saw someone tweet something along the lines of like, you know, the Rio's a shithole, but it's our shithole. I get that sentiment of like maybe the Rio, maybe we'll look back on the Rio days of the WSOP and be like, damn, that was the golden age. That big parking lot, not on the strip. All that amazing food options in the Rio, but I think when it moves to Bally's and Paris, I mean, just like anything else, there's going to be a bunch of drawbacks and a bunch of upsides compared to the Rio. Hopefully, it's not a huge disaster. I'm not sure. It really could be, though.
That sounds like what people use as their excuse in domestic abuse relationships, where, well, it might be a parking lot, but it's our parking lot. No, that's not the way we're going to view this. It's a business. They make millions of dollars. I'm not going to just. No,
we all just have Stockholm syndrome at the Rio.
Yeah, I hope that they keep a lot of the fun upsides of the Rio, you know, like the 16-mile walk in from the back right corner of the parking lot, and the people might rob you if you stay at the hotel, and the people might rob you if you go in the parking lot, and the people will, you know, predatory salesmen and keeping it the Arctic tundra in there, and the nice
Legionnaire's disease,
a little decaying property vibe. Yeah, I hope they keep the vibe.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get that pavilion room vibe back into the Bally's.
I think the big downside really there's two, I guess, downsides. First off, it's not like they picked the cream of the crop place to move this to, right?
They did not. What would be the cream of the crop place, by the way?
Literally just got shot there 2 days ago, by the way.
Perfect.
Somebody was murdered at Bally's 2 days ago.
Seems like we're keeping the vibe going.
Yeah.
So that's the first downside. And the other one is being on the strip is going to be a little bit of a nightmare. And the strip, by the way, or really just that area of town, it's just getting more and more built up between. They have the hockey stadium. They got the football stadium. Now we're going to get closer to the strip with the World Series of Poker. It feels, I'm not sure how everything is supposed to just function normally, and I've not seen how the football games have been going. So maybe if someone can just let us know about what traffic has been like and accessibility in Vegas during those, but I can only imagine it's going to be difficult to get around. That said, once the WSB returns to its normal time slot, then football wouldn't be going on concurrently, so that wouldn't be much of an issue. So I think that it could. So there were a lot of good memories at the Rio. We can appreciate those, but this is an opportunity for the poker world to get a serious upgrade on its flagship event, or flagship series, I should say.
Yeah, hopefully it turns out to be an upgrade.
It's long overdue. There's been talk of moving it out of there for years now. It's good. It's a way to get a fresh start.
And it's moved before, right? It was originally at Binion's.
Yep, moved in
or the
2005.
Horseshoe?
Binion's Horseshoe Casino. Yeah.
Okay. Want to make sure I got my history right.
I don't know how they ever held those big main events in like 2003 and 2004 there, because I've walked through that poker room and it's tiny. Well, it doesn't exist anymore, but it's a small space. So I imagine they had to move it because it was just so crammed.
Oh, 05 was the first year at the Rio?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Well, that's weird. I think I stopped by there in 07, 08 and checked it out.
You stopped by Binion's in 07, 08?
No, the Rio. When was the first year of the World Series of Poker at the Rio?
2005.
Okay, so I'm saying I stopped by the Rio and checked it out a few years after that.
Yep.
And I don't know what statute of limitations. May or may not have gambled at the premise. And
I think you're safe.
I think I'm probably safe. I remember I knew fees from online, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about playing." He's like, "Oh, here's a bunch of money." He just opened up his backpack and whipped out like bricks of cash. I was like, "Damn, this seems not safe."
And at the Rio, it wasn't.
He was at the Rio, so it's part of the fun. The fun of the Rio is showing up with a lot of money, just walking around.
The thrill of the risk.
Yeah, living on the edge. No, I'm just kidding. At the actual tournaments, you're good to go. It's the hotel rooms and parking lot that they might get you.
Yeah, so I hear a lot of talk about like the parking situation. How are they going to accommodate all those people? But I think like recreational players, I mean, they come in from out of town anyway. It's probably going to be more convenient for them, I would think, than the Rio, which is kind of off strip. It's probably going to just be more for the regs that it's going to suck, and they would be the ones largely complaining about it, I think.
Don't you think that a very large number of people rent out like Airbnbs off the strip, or they have places there, or they have friends there, or I think a large number of people playing in the World Series of Poker are off strip.
I think a good chunk of those are regs, though, like getting an Airbnb. I think a lot of people just coming in to play one event, two events, recreational player. I think they're generally going to stay at like a cheap hotel on the strip, maybe like a Bellagio if they feel like getting a little fancier, like whatever it is.
Fair.
So I think it'll be pretty convenient. By the way, Doug, I think there's something that we have forgotten to mention, despite being in 58 minutes into this podcast, and it's the Upswing Poker Black Friday Cyber Monday sale, which we have extended for 24 hours due to popular demand. A bunch of people tried to take advantage of it last night. So we've extended it. It's going to end tonight at midnight. Everything on Upswing Poker is 25% off right now. So head on over there if you want to get better at poke.
Not entirely true. Merchandise is still full price.
That's true.
So, just gotta get that out there.
So if you want a shirt that says Bink's Feet,
and we know how relevant that is these days,
you're going to have to pay full price for that.
Full dollar on that one. You know what? Actually, Mike, I will personally give people $25% back if they want to buy a 4 years old T-shirt. Merchandise 25% off as well. It's all the whole thing. Why not? We'll throw that in there. And
how do they collect that though?
Logistics.
All right, perfect.
You have to email from the account that bought it. There's an email. You have to email from that email.
Yeah, just email Matt at upswingpoker.com.
Thank you.
To get your 25% off, and he'll take care of it.
An old school joke comes back. Yeah, Matt at upswingpoker.com. Why? That was the answer was right there in front of me the entire time.
He stopped checking that inbox so long ago, and I have to imagine that your joke of sending all traffic from your videos to email him played a decent sized role.
Okay, so what you're saying is they need to email mike@upswingpoker.com.
Oh God. Sure. Oh, I feel like biting my tongue now.
Yeah, well, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. You're more. You still got the. You haven't been beaten down by the legions of emails. We'll see how you fare in about a week or so.
Yeah, not yet.
Or it might be two people because, as Thomas says, no one watches this, so it works out for everybody.
Perfect.
What other content? So I think we have like a bunch of good poker ideas. Any crypto stuff? And we should make fun of some of these altcoin guys. I think that those would be nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be like whack-a-mole. Just go on YouTube, find the moles, whack them with a video.
Didn't Ty Lopez recently launch an Ohm fork?
He sure did.
That could be nice.
Yeah, but to really roast that idea, you have to understand what Ohm is.
Fair. I can't say that I do. Do you?
I own a lot of Ohm, and I don't understand how it works.
Oh,
frankly.
you're in the Ponzi.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Do you have the number we don't want to hear?
I have an embarrassing amount in Ohm, so let's just leave it at that.
Oh no. Oh no.
No.
Oh no. Wow. Yeah, anytime Ty Lopez gets into something, that's usually just about the top. It's about the time to call it
maybe take some profits.
Yeah.
Take some profits, make a YouTube video, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the case. Gotta figure out some other good crypto topics too. I'm just excited to kind of get back in the mix. You know, typically speaking, I don't vacation very well. I usually just kind of sit there and I'm like, I'm gonna have to get back in the mix when I get back, and I just sort of stew. I think I did a pretty good job overall of relaxing, but by the end of it, it had just been so long. I'm just ready to get back to business, you know? And one other thing that's kind of been tilting me a little bit lately, I feel like people are stepping at me a little bit online. And I feel like during the peak days of some of the content, people weren't stepping at you, you know? You didn't have Bryn Kenny piping the fuck off on Twitter a la 2018. No. But now you do. People smell blood in the water and all the scammy shit that's going down. People talking about burning down hotel casinos, potential angle shots, people talking shit. I don't know. I feel like people are stepping, and someone's got to step in and keep the streets clean. The streets aren't clean.
Well, good thing you're getting back on the content grind.
Back on the content grind.
For those who missed the beginning of the pod too, Josh Aryeh next week, joining on Tuesday. Is that right, Doug?
That is correct. And then Sean Deeb will be joining the week after.
Yeah.
And this pod has had a very casual conversational flow to it. I just wanted to kind of talk about, you know, what I did while I was gone and just sort of shoot the shit with the audience for a little bit. We're going to be back to our more normal format starting next week, where we have a guest on, we have specific topics where, you know, I just wanted to get back in the mix. But you guys have a lot of podcasts to look forward to, and then also we got a lot of videos coming up for you, so should be good. It's going to be good to be back. Team Poker News Productions ready to roll.
It's been too long, man. It's been too long. You know, I always suspect when you talk about hanging up the gloves that it's temporary. I know it's going to come back calling. The urge to, or just content in general.
Yeah, content's good.
I know you miss it.
When you put together a nice video that has a lot of good jokes and you're proud of it, those are great moments. It's the day-to-day grind that can get real grindy. But I think we've had a nice try with this podcast where it's been an amount where it doesn't feel like work. I just have conversations with people that I like to talk to about topics I'm interested in, and it's a low enough frequency where it just feels like something that I enjoy doing. I think we need to keep that level of things, because on the poker channel, for example, we were doing daily content for, I don't know, a year. It was around that. We did almost daily content for around a year, I think, or more.
If you're talking consecutively, yeah, but altogether more than that for sure.
So that's just burnout city. Also, your quality drops because you're just trying to get as many out as you can. There's this balancing act of quality versus quantity that I think is pretty tough to hit. And I think that poker on YouTube as a genre has really exploded, and crypto on YouTube as a genre has exploded. Both of those genres have really blasted off in the last, let's just say 12 to 18 months. The poker vlogging world has become so big on YouTube. It's incredible how big it's become. And then
it's unreal. There are people on TikTok who are getting millions of views just posting like first person 1-3 no limit hands. It's really mind blowing how much people just want to see pocket tens and chips.
Certainly true. And the same thing can be said for altcoins. Some of these channels are massive. The channels that have been built now, it's incredible the number of views a lot of these things are getting. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. I think there's a lot of fun content to make, and looking forward to going on that journey. So on that note, I think we can call it a day here, guys. Any last words, Mike or Thomas? Anything you're up to? You want to let the audience know?
Not really, man. Just looking forward to getting back in the mix and making some fun videos.
Sam.
Yeah, same old, same old. I'm excited to be behind the scenes while it all happens.
Some of the best times, guys. Some of those vids. We're gonna have some bangers.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be good. And thank you, audience, for joining us today. Once again, we will be joined next week by Josh Aryeh. We'll be talking about his win of Player of the Year, a lot of other World Series of Poker stuff as well. Should be a great one. I will see you there, and I will be active over my other channels as well. I know there are too many channels. That's okay. Just the poker and crypto ones where we're going to be posting. I'll see you guys there. Peace.